Max. Say hello, Max. It's Max the dog. He's on patrol. Anyway, as you see from the title, episode 5, One Little Duck Still Alive, our special little girl has made it. And I don't think she just made it through the night. I think she's made it as much as any other duck in here, to where it's very hard for me to actually figure out who she is. And I wanted to tell you guys how I was able to get her through her problem. And it wasn't really a complicated thing. It was actually whether or not she had the will to live. What I want to talk about first is a lot of people said, make her a food slushie and take a syringe and shove it down her throat. Guys, I've done that. And if a duck's not going to eat, it doesn't work. It just doesn't. And it makes their last day or last hours absolutely miserable and terrifying. And I won't do it. I don't know. What I'm actually looking for now is a duck with a striped head that looks one day behind its mates, which at this age is a little difficult. But I'm betting it's actually her right there. But I'm not sure. And that's a good thing. So what I did is I took their food in my hand like that, and I used my other hand that's holding the phone to, let's say this is my hand, and I took my thumb and I crushed the food till it was almost like a powder. And then I took the little duck and I held her in my opposite hand, and I put my food hand like this and I cupped it, and I just kept using my backhand to make her beak touch the crumbled food. And because it was smaller, she started to eat a little bit, and then a little bit more, and then a little bit more. And she went through, a quarter teaspoon, which is a lot when you're that big, of probably the first food she's ever ingested. And let me tell you guys, it was like a light switch. You remember that dazed and confused look she had yesterday? Huh? Where, ring biter, where she didn't know what was going on, and she just couldn't figure out how to be a duck. It was gone like that. She still wasn't out of the woods yet, but I got her to drink after that. Then I did another grind up and probably another half teaspoon of food. Got her to eat that. She drank some water. She sat, and I put her over in the heat lamp and let her warm up so that digestive system would take over. And within 15 minutes, she was running around like everybody else and forcing her way in. And I'm sure I recognized her when I first came in this morning, and I was watching her have a little trouble getting into the water. But when I saw her jump into a hole and force her head, and I'm like, well, she's got it. If anything happens to her now, it's not from that initial problem. So what are we going to do today? Well, we are going to introduce the ducklings to green stuff. And they're very interested in what I have already. But let's see if they like it. This is arugula, and I buy giant cartons, huge cartons of arugula for $5, organic, at Albertsons. And we could never eat the whole thing. I think they like it. Huh? It's funny how right now, this is what I get. And a few weeks from now when these guys are, let's say 6 weeks from now when these guys are outside with the other ducks, they won't do this anymore. They won't come up and eat out of my hands. They'll adopt a flock mentality. Big giants are dangerous, even though they provide food. Anyway, I get these big giant cartons for $5, and they're packed with this baby arugula. It's one of the best buys out there, I think. And we can never get through a carton of it, but a much smaller carton costs like $4 instead of, so like an extra dollar gets you like 3 times as much. So all I do is I buy those, and whatever we don't use goes to the ducks. And right now the babies get preference. Geez, I should have brought more. Let's see, guys. Here, look at this. Look at who wants it. Oh yeah, it's good. Good stuff, huh? So, I also wanted to answer some questions today. So some people said, are you sitting like on the ground in there where all that duck poop is? Yeah, but what I do is where I'm going to sit to do the videos, because I just get much better interaction than being in a chair or something for you. I put down a big new fresh layer of straw and I sit on that. So Actually, most of the droppings are going down under these things because they pretty much eat and eject pretty quickly, or they eat, they drink, and they eject, and they're ejecting into. And you can see those catchers what they're saving us, because that goes to our next question. Does it stink in here? It doesn't. Now I clean these out, and what I do is I wait till nighttime when everybody goes back to the warm place, and so I don't have to worry about squishing anybody. I take all the food and water and I set it up on a hay bale or straw bale. Don't use hay for this. Straw. I'm sorry I said that. And then I just lift that thing up like a hinge and lean it against the wall. I take those and throw them out there, hose them out, put them back in and start over. Somebody asked about catching feed. I think it's practical if you have maybe less ducks to deal with than me, or because right now I got to figure out how to get more water in here. The morning melee for water is insane, and the duck population is going to almost double, so that's going to make it worse. I need to get the 5-gallon buckets in, but I got new. So what I'll do when I cut the thing in half, like I said last episode, I'll give these guys buckets on one side and get them bucket trained, and still a couple of these. By the time I introduce them, there'll be 4 buckets with dipper cups, probably about 4 to 6 dipper cups per bucket, which will be less places for beaks to go. But since it's 5 gallons a shot, they won't run out and have that hyperactive attack when the new water comes, hopefully anyway. But I think that is practical. I mean, you see how much feed is under there, and if you had something catching it and dumping it, the problem is they're going to crap on it. So you're going to have crap-infested feed. So just accept that your ducklings are going to waste feed, and these chick feeders are probably the best way to minimize that, because it makes it harder for them to dig through it. And if you don't fill them all the way, which is tempting because you want your feed to last longer before you have to do it again, it's harder for them to dig it out. And I like the metal ones for water and the plastic ones for feed, just because these metal ones hold a lot more water. They're deeper. So does it stink in here? No. And the reason it doesn't is, if you look, everything is bone dry. If we didn't have those water catchers, this thing would stink to high heaven after, 3 days? Is all it would take. Huh? Come here. How you doing? Say I'm a little runner duck. They're gonna call me pencil neck. So yeah, and then another question I had is what are we feeding the birds? I guess I've answered this 1,000 times, and there's new people checking the series out all the time. I feed them a feed called Texas Naturals. It's GMO-free. It's peanut meal-based. It's soy-free. It's corn-free. And that's what our customers mostly want, and the birds love it. I had a guy bring me some super feed one time for my bigger ducks. He told me all these wonderful things about it. It sounded great. We put it in the trough. They looked at it. They wouldn't eat it. And ducks aren't exactly particular, but I think when it comes to their feed, they're pretty stuck on this Texas Natural stuff. They like it. And I think it's a big part of why our egg product is so good, because we're feeding this, this peanut meal-based, high-protein feed. And these guys are on Chick Starter, and they'll stay on Chick Starter until they get introduced to the flock. What were some of the other questions that we had? I'm having trouble remembering right now. I had one person that tore off on me with like 15 questions. I'll try to do those on the next interview, or next video. I'll write them down on a note card or something. But yeah, put your questions in the comments, and I'll try to get to them. And remember, I might not answer every question, because this is just one of the many things that I do. But this time of year, I remember one of the big questions somebody asked. Last year I was big on getting them out there on the grass as soon as possible, and this year they're in here. How long will they stay in here? They'll stay in here until I think that they're big enough that they're not too much of an attractive nuisance for the cats, where the cats just won't be able to control themselves. And that's one of the big things that's changed, is I have cats this year. I'm also doing this earlier in the year, and while the days are wonderful this year, even this it's March, it's actually, the nights have been getting down in the 30s, and it's just too cold for these little guys, and I have a lot more of them. So it makes it harder for when I put the heat lamps out there for everybody to get warm. So I'm just not comfortable with them on the grass early this year. And I have to say, brooding is a personal decision, and this is the best situation I've had. Completely dry, big water catchers, no mess, completely protected. Because the other thing that's changed this year is I now have Lucy the dog, who is nowhere near as well trained as Charlie and Max. and I worry about her. And she's a fence climber, so even with my cattle panel duck tractor concept, she can get over that. So I'm protecting them more from my own personal predation than the nature's predation. Anyway, we'll catch up with you. I'll be taking Sunday tomorrow off. We'll be back with you on Monday with episode 6.